have a really weird issue on my NA Miata. Let me show you. So all I'm gonna do is put it in neutral and put my foot on the brake. Not touching the gas, literally just have my foot on the brake. First thing first in this saga, and that is that I have to go take this for a drive and let it get good and hot so that I can then duplicate the issue before trying to fix it. So I'm gonna go do that, and as soon as I get back, I will catch up. I've got 2 plans and I will tell you what they are. Now, I realize that's bizarre, but the idle RPMs have been creeping up over the past couple of weeks. Quite a lot. And the highest I've seen is 2,000, but it only does it when it's hot, which is weird. So, I suspect that it's a ruptured brake master cylinder, or sorry, I should say a brake diaphragm, causing a vacuum leak. But I also think it might be the idle air control valve. So I'm gonna start by unplugging or disconnecting the brake master cylinder and then plugging the line so that there's no longer a vacuum leak there, drive it again and see if it still does it, and then I'll know it's a brake booster and I gotta put a new brake booster in it, which I really don't wanna do because it's a pain in the butt, but at least I'll know what it is. If I do that and the problem doesn't get any better, then I will pull the idle air control valve again and block off the idle air control valve. Now it'll idle really low and it won't bump the RPMs when it's cold, but then I'll know for sure that it's the idle air control valve. So what I'm doing is diagnosing, trying to figure out if it's one or the other or if it is both. So let me get this capped and I'll show you how I'm gonna cap it. All right, what I did was disconnect the vacuum line from the brake booster and put a bolt in it. So now I'll start it up, drive it, and see what happens. All right, we'll go back up into the barn. And here's where it gets really weird. Disconnected, hit the brakes, and it's still doing it. I think we might be onto it. I plugged the brake line back up, and now what I've done here is I've taken the little charge tube for the idle air control valve off. Just so you know, I am actually eating these little Swedish fish, and they're not Swedish fish. I realize this is out of the blue. They're these smart sweets, sweet fish. They don't taste at all like Swedish fish. They're not bad, but they don't taste like Swedish fish. And Swedish fish are my favorite gummy candy, just to know. But anyways, what this does is when the engine's cold, it opens and it lets some air past the throttle body to bump up the idle while the engine warms up. Couple of things to note, however, is it's right up underneath here, it does have 2 coolant lines going to it, and those coolant lines are how it knows that the engine is cold and how it knows that the engine is warm. But the other thing that it does, and I'm not exactly sure how this part works, is it has an electrical circuit. And if I say anything wrong and you're a Mazda Miata expert, please feel free to correct me in the comments. Just don't be rude about it. This is just how I've been led to believe it works, so I could be wrong. But it does have some electrical lines to it as well, so that if the electrical load is increased, maybe you turn on the AC, maybe you have all the lights on, it will bump up the RPMs a little bit for that as well, to help with the AC compressor or to help with the electrical load on the alternator. That's what I've been told. Again, I could be wrong, but the more important thing that it does is it controls the idle air RPM. It's not really mixture, it's RPM. So I'm gonna close the hood. Well, I'll leave the hood. Let's start it and let's see what happens just by starting it. Because like I said, I taped those off. I don't know if this is gonna fix it, but if it does, I know I gotta pull the idle air control valve out of it, which is better than doing a brake booster. Well, it's idling very low. Right back down. Let's take it for a drive. Do you want to hear how good my car sounds? Oh, look at this. Let's go into neutral. No more RPM bump. Well, it pains to admit me to admit it, but I think I know what the problem is. I spoke too soon. That is so weird. I gave myself a heart attack there. So I tried something. I went ahead and I unplugged it. I took it for another drive off of camera, and it drives normal. Now, when I say it drives normal, I mean that it idles at like 800 RPMs. Actually, it idles at like 1200 RPMs, unless the AC's on, and then it drops way down because there's nothing to compensate for it, because that plug, from what I understand, is what helps it control the load. So when the AC's on, when the power steering's running, it bumps the RPMs, you know, to help with that kind of stuff, because it is such a small underpowered car. But unplugging it, it worked normal. I am noticing I am getting like a really sharp bump. If I hit the brake pedal really fast, it'll drop, but it'll only do it once with everything unplugged. So maybe the check valve is still bad in the brake booster, but if I unplug the brake booster, like, you can hear the vacuum draw and do what it's supposed to do. So about 99% sure it's a idle air control valve. I'm gonna order that and replace it in another video. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. I don't know how long or how short it was, but there are some things coming. I wonder what this giant stack of 071 5056 sheets are for. Only time can tell. I finally got the title for the GS 550, so the motorcycle is officially mine and officially in my name, and very, very soon I'm going to be making an announcement about why I have this trailer. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, I realize it was maybe a little bit short. I think I'm gonna give this thing a bath, because it's very, very dirty, but this is why I don't like having a black car. I'm not going to turn down a $500 Miata when someone says, hey, I'll sell you a Miata for $500, but black is one of the hardest colors to keep clean, probably just as hard, if not harder, than white. But at any rate, I'm going to cut it off here. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I realized it was a little short. I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you leave us a like, leave us a comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And as always, go build something and be easy.